Alaikum warahmatullah. Kagiso ya Ramasedi ibe le lona. So what you were listening to, we hope that you got to hear a bit of that. That's Bume Mlenge, honoring and remembering her grandmother, Me Victoria Mlenge. If you don't know about Me Victoria Mlenge, it's on you. The honors is on you. If you really want to know the history and the stories of women and their contribution to where our nation is, you will remember the name Victoria Nonyamezelo Mlenge. And the link will be shared on Salam Media Facebook page, I believe, and possibly the other one. What is it called? Instagram, maybe. Yeah, that one. Um, YouTube, yes, and Twitter. So yeah, all those ones, right? If you search for Salam Media, then you will follow the speech made by Bumi in honor of her grandmother. The link will be shared there. Right now, as we promised, we're having an intergenerational conversation, the one that we've been emphasizing and talking about that it's necessary for this vehicle to move and for us to rebuild this precious nation and country of ours. Right now, we've got Potlako Ramokgopa. Potlako Ramokgopa is an inquisitive mind, a young inquisitive mind with a lot of energy to actually pair the questions she's got because she then accelerates to what do we do next. Potlako, welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. You said you were listening. Oh, Potlako, by the way, is a student at AFDA. You know, we hear a lot of good from AFDA and awards and what from AFDA. So please remember this name a few years from now, Potlako Ramokgopa. And she's doing filmmaking, correct, Potlako?
Yes, I'm doing a BA in motion picture medium.
So now, you were listening to bomme ba rena ba babedi, the ones we had before, Me Mamolefe and Thabiso Sekwane, right? And from what you heard, what are your take home points? What is it that you take from the conversation that was had with the generations that were here?
I think the main thing that I took is just more of storytelling. I'm a lover of history and I'm a lover of all the things that happened to ensure that we are where we are as a nation.
Mm,
So what Mema Khauta was speaking about, just like how these stories are dying. We're not hearing them because, I mean, from a personal perspective, my grandmother, when she told me the stories about her upbringing, it was word of mouth. So we didn't really, you know, film it or write it down. So it's all these things that are happening in history that aren't documented, but it's because we're hearing them from our grandmothers when we were sitting, when she's cooking,
mm,
or when my own mother as well, when she's sitting with her friends, and I'm just asking, like, because I'm inquisitive like that, I just ask questions of like, listen, how was it growing up in the time of like apartheid? What did you do? And I think now it's just what I took the most was, we want to, I don't know, for myself, I want to know these stories. I love to hear these stories, because they help us for our future as well.
mm.
And yeah, that's the most that I took away from it.
Okay. And I mean, you being passionate about knowing, not only about our history and everything, but where we come from, and also once you know, you appreciate it even more, and you also get to learn, the blind spots, what to do, what not to do, sort of, a part of that. When in where you are now and your generation or the group of people that you find yourself among, what are you guys doing in terms of keeping these stories alive or the research that needs to be done?
I think for us, it's more about recreation,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Um, we have so much access to this history, I believe. It's just that it's the confusion of how to tell it, how to put it in this new age, land of social media, all these things that are happening.
Hmm.
Um, So for myself, a couple of students from AFDA, we started a docu-series uh, called Life. And I think we honestly wanted more to have conversation with our age mates, our parents, and extended, just to really understand and unpack, different topics, different conversation, different structures of history,
Mm,
and not just that, but also talk on the many things that are happening in this world right now, and connect it, find a way to connect it as well. So I think that's what we, well, for myself, let me speak for myself, that's what we're doing.
So basically, you find yourself using your passion, which is collecting these stories and actually getting into them and understanding them, and actually now with what you're doing, telling them, or as you're saying, recreating them, right? And with that which you're doing, you are actually combining or making use of what you love, your passion, number one, and
Mm,
two, you are actually enabling yourself through the studies that you're doing so that you can tell these stories and be in a position to recreate them, right?
yeah.
And what role do you see, or what kind of, what should I say, collaborations, do you see any potential collaborations between, let's say, your group? I'll just put it in that context, your group of the AFDA students, and maybe people like Bo Mema Gauta and Bo Austabiso, because there's some similarities there. Do you see any collaborations potential?
I see a big collaboration in filmmaking.
Mm,
um a lot of our South African stories have been told by America or the UK, the United Kingdom. I
mm,
think the best for me, I would love to hear these, I'd love to see these things on a film, on series, or things like that, because I think that also connects with our generation more. Um, and, you know, we can hear it from the horse's mouth, if you get what I'm saying. Because it's really, for me, filmmaking is a passion of mine. I love seeing how you unpack a film, and the research that goes into just one film. So
mm,
with a story like Mema Khautas, you can honestly create a beautiful series, a beautiful film, a docu series, just documenting the story, her story, the journey, and then
mm,
also it keeps it home, it keeps it in our backyard, so that if we are straying, we can go straight to it and say, listen, in the writing, do you think we hit the mark here in
mm.
portraying the story? So yeah, it's also about bringing our filmmaking home.
Yeah, yeah. No, so based on what you've just said, can I challenge you? Can I dare to challenge you? To bring it on.
Bring it on.
Can I challenge you to actually now, after the show, that there's a continuation or there's some continuity in terms of what you see as potential collaboration between what you're doing and what the other two generations are doing, what the other two women who came before you are doing? Can I challenge you to actually start reaching out and see what you have on the table and put together something that's top notch?
That's a challenge I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
No, that's a challenge I'm willing to take, because like I said, it's about connecting every single generation, especially in the way I would love to make films.
Hmm.
Um, there are so many stories that are untold in South Africa. And I think, Mama, you can also attest to that, that, you know, even sitting at home with our grandparents, our parents, there's so many stories that we're like, oh, that would be an interesting concept, that would be an interesting movie, that would be an interesting, just a story to tell. So I think that's a challenge I'm really willing to take, because that is also why I'm in this industry in the first place.
Hmm. Well, just on that, so that that marinates with you and you understand what you've gotten yourself into, we're just going to have a break so that Okono tells the commitment that you've already now put your signature on. And we're going to have an ad break and then we'll come back and continue where we start.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Hunger ratios in South Africa are on an upward trajectory since the beginning of COVID-19. Over 23% of South African households experienced hunger last summer. At SANZAF, we aim to ease the hunger struggles of those in need by providing freshly prepared meals daily. You can be part of this by donating towards the SANZAF Meals Project. Visit sanzaf.org.za or call us on 011 834 6046. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
The Syrian crisis has raged for over 4,000 days. 4,000 days of suffering, displacement, hunger, and intolerable insecurity. With your help, Islamic Relief can continue to stand alongside them. Never has your support been so important. Together, we can stand with the Syrian people. We can help them build a better future. Will you continue to stand with the people of Syria? Please, donate now.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. So I'd like to share a quote with you from Chinua Achebe. And it says, "Nobody can teach me who I am. You can describe parts of me. But who I am and what I need is something I have to find out myself." So the onus is on us. Whatever we complain that we are not being told about, whatever, the onus is on us. Potlako, your last parting words, Nana, your advice or malibela to the listeners, and a reminder to me, an advice to me as well. What's your parting shot?
My parting words would honestly be, don't be afraid to tell these stories, because we have the biggest platform, that being social media, and a beautiful reach to people. I think also to my generation, it's all about, we ask a lot of questions. I think one thing my mom always says about me is I always ask why. And I think, don't stop asking why. That's my parting words. Don't stop asking why. Don't stop listening, and don't stop digesting everything that's happening in our country, because we are from a beautiful place, and we're going to a beautiful place as well. So let us not be afraid to tell our stories.
I mean, those are powerful words, Potlako. Thank you. Thank you for the advice you've given to me and to the listeners. And we hope and pray that from this, we see an even bigger movement going in telling our stories. They'll only be untold until we tell them. And thank you, and keep doing what you're doing, Nana. Shine your light.
Will do. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. And that was Potlako Ramokgopa, a student, and that's a third generation. I promised you 3 generations, and I gave it to you. And I pray and hope that the aim and the intention that was made for this show, that Allah accepts, first of all, And second of all, that you forgive me where I went left. It's allowed sometimes, because anyway, there wouldn't be a left. So that you forgive me where I might have erred or have offended anyone, but also that you take from the show what is beneficial. The last words, as the show is about to end, I would challenge people, as it was said, that right now we need to do for ourselves as a nation what we need to do to get us to where we want to get to. I'm going to challenge you as listeners to go and learn about, and also the youth, the concept of the Japanese. It is said that Allah created us into different nations so that we can learn from each other. So let's look at what we can learn from each other. And please go and research the concept and the principle of the Japanese called Ikigai. The main questions that are asked, I'm just going to give you a short thing, is that you need to ask yourself, what is it that you love? Do what you love. At the end of it all is that you must do what you love so that you continue doing it. The second question you ask is, or the second thing that you need to do is do what you're good at. Ask yourself, what are your strengths? Things that are within you, that are part of you. And the next question is, what or who inspires you? Do something for which you see there's a niche. Do something that the world needs. And more so, starting at home, what our nation needs. And the last one is that, of course, we need to make a living. Do something that you can be paid for. For me, it's been an honor being with you, and it's been humbling to be with you. And I pray and hope that there's something good that comes out of it. And as I said, whatever left turn or off ramp I might have taken, forgive me for that. May Allah forgive me. But may you take from the show whatever it is good from the show. My name is Mamolefe Sehume. Flate, my story is 8. Assalamu alaikum.